The Last of the 20 by Wdowski. Yale School of Medicine. Morning came without incident. Just as the sun rose, Miller stepped out of the building and returned to Derby Avenue. Realizing that in 3 hours he would be finally reaching the Yale University Medical Library and Shelter 3. Surprisingly, he felt anxious. He began to question what he might find after finally reaching his destination. He was already coming to terms that Reclaim's Group 3 had also not succeeded in their mission, due to the simple fact that New Haven still had so many thriving nests. He wondered if one night they were decimated on the surface. Did they make the mistake by entering a darkened building and get ambushed? How long were they able to fight on? Did any of their team survive and at least make it back to the safety of their shelter? Was their shelter overrun? Each step he took closer to his mission objective, the more he dreaded what he was going to discover. An hour later, they came to another old military Hesco bastion's defensive position blocking them. He noticed several abandoned rusted armored personnel carriers, one main battle tank, and a few joint light tactical vehicles all stood silently alongside the road. He was approaching Yale University's athletic fields. To his right were the remains of the baseball stadium covered in nature. To his left was a red brick 2-story building that had a collapsed roof. Past the building were, what he guessed, used to be clay-top tennis courts. Behind them in the distance was a football stadium that towered like an ancient coliseum that had seen much better days. "My sensors are not picking up any life," 124 reported. "Any other mobile command stations?" Miller asked as they walked closer to the fortification. "You looking to replace me?" The robot seemed worried. "No, 124. I have no desire to replace you." "Good. And no, I am not sensing any. Besides, one of the APCs is actually a command center. It would have a lot more command options than an MCS unit." 124 explained. This was a division field headquarters. Division HQ, which would mean a major general in command. Miller stated, walking up to the wall of the Hesco bastions blocking their way. Surprised these things are still standing after all these years. How could they last so long? They're mostly soil inside. The fabric casing is spider silk. Spider silk production DNA was spliced into goat DNA. It enabled them to mass-produce silk from the goat's milk. 124 explained. Spider silk is stronger, lighter, tougher, more elastic, and able to absorb more kinetic energy than Kevlar. "How is that not trivia?" Miller questioned him. "Besides, I am already aware. My uniform's composite material consists of a layer of spider silk. It is important military information, not trivia. And if you were already aware, why did you ask in the first place?" 124 responded, a bit annoyed. "It was a rhetorical question. I was not expecting you to answer me." "Well, speaking of spider silk, I think they tried to create a safe zone in the football stadium to the north of us. There are a lot of military tents on the playing field, all made from the same material." 124 focused his scan on the stadium. "Since there are no life signs, we can assume their safe zone did not succeed." Another rhetorical question. Yes, another rhetorical question. Miller decided to address his helmet computer. "Computer, can you pick up any signals from Shelter 3? "No signals," the female voice replied. "I already tried contacting them." Pointed out 124. "Why are you asking your helmet? If there was any contact, I would have told you. It's dead silence on all frequencies." "Is there any reason to investigate the safe zone in the stadium?" Miller began walking around the fortification. "Unless you want to take the time to properly bury thousands of skeletons, nature has already done most of the work for you. I don't see any point. That would be advertising we have been here. No reason to do that," Miller stated. "Although I think if Julius was here, he would want to at least say a few words over them." Another tactically wise decision. "There is hope for you, Commander. You are too kind. Miller led the robots further east to enter New Haven. Yes, yes, I am. I appreciate that you appreciate me. Do you appreciate that I appreciate that you appreciate me? He snickered as he followed Miller. The robot mule took up the rear of their small column. They had turned off Derby onto George Street, bringing them deeper into New Haven. The city was eerily quiet. For the next hour, they made their way through the city that was being engulfed by the nature of New England. Along the side of the once city street were long parked rustic cars. Those cars have been there so long, I am shocked they are not covered with parking tickets. You are in a very humorous mood this fine morning. Miller responded, thinking of what you might be leading us into, is either joking or crying. I choose joking. 124's head turned a complete 360 degrees. I'm picking up dormant nests all around us and throughout the city. The robot warned there must be at least 2,000 in total. Miller looked up at the sun as he kept walking. It is still mid-morning. We'll be fine. His famous last words. Not yet. They reached College Street and turned south. At the third block on their right was the campus of the Yale School of Medicine. Before walking onto the campus, Miller stopped to look at the closely packed red bricked buildings. Examining the narrow green areas between the buildings, Miller felt it was a perfect place for an ambush. You sure it is clear? Yes, it is clear. No mole men, no Zacharys, no bears, no wild dog packs, no wolves, no bunnies with big, long teeth. 124 gave one of his mechanical chuckles. Bunnies with big, long teeth. Yeah, long, sharp teeth, dripping with human blood. None of them to worry about. Surprisingly, there aren't even any dormant mutant nests in any of the buildings on the campus. Turning his head around 180 degrees, there are though many behind us. His head turned to the north. And to the north of us, turning his head south. And to the south of us, he turned his head back to the medical university. Behind the campus, there are many. Yet, I am not picking up a single sleeping prune face in any of the campus buildings. Sounds too good to be true. Miller unslung his rifle and took his first step onto the campus.